So, good evening, YouTube. This is a bit of a test. I'm testing some things out, right? I'm checking to see how things go and if there's actually an audience that pops on and what that looks like. If I'm being honest, this is my very first YouTube live, and I was doing it as a folks show up. If anybody shows up and you want to ask any questions, you can. I will very likely be deleting this, but I just want to see how the process works. And so I titled this checking in because I think I've been doing a lot of that lately with a lot of people, a lot of not only my clients, but also friends. I've been encouraging people to check in with themselves because I think what tends to happen is we run on automatic. And when you run on automatic for so long, it's easy to get lost in what it is you truly need and then get disconnected from yourself, right? So I've been talking to a lot of people who have forgotten who they are, forgotten how they are, and all of that. For those of you who know, or maybe you don't know, my name is Rhonda Gipson-Willis, and I am a licensed therapist, contrary to the opinions of some of the people online who were upset with me about the Nicki and Meg commentary that I provided a couple weeks ago. But I've mostly been working in the area of leadership development and coaching, and I've not done a lot of therapy over the last few years. And so because of that, um, as I check in with myself and determine what's in and what's not in alignment with who I want to be, how I want to be, what I want my experience to be, what I determined was there were some things that are no longer serving me. Now, if you followed any of my content, besides those of you who came off of um, the Meg and Nikki beef, which I think I'll probably make something like that more of a series where I'm talking about some pop culture things because again, I know way too much, way more than I probably should know as a 53-year-old woman about what's going on in these internet streets. Like Dreezy and DeAndrea and Jacquees, that whole mess, like that needs some eyes on it. So I might come in and start a series where I'm talking about some of those things. But I have been a licensed therapist 21 years ago. And I remember when I took it, I said, if I fail this thing, there's no way I'm taking it again. An emotionally healthy life, I'll say that. An emotionally healthy strangers. And when you open yourself up to that, you open yourself up to some scrutiny. Been people accusing me of being someone who's glorifying divorce. Position in my life, I took the reins on what was necessary for me to heal was to get real with myself, right? Check in with myself to see those places and spaces where perhaps I had betraying myself and then forgiving myself for betraying myself, forgiving him, um, taking accountability for how I showed up in that marriage and doing the work. And so a lot of the content that I share on other platforms, maybe not so much on YouTube. I'm pretty new to getting back to YouTube, but the content that I share on those platforms is really geared around leaning into the healing journey. So when I talked about Nikki and Meg, yeah, that's their names. When I talked about Nikki and Meg, right, there were people who were like, "You don't understand hip hop. You don't understand the lyrics. You don't." I mean, because I did make have commentary about the lyrics, but I wasn't basing it off of the lyrical content of what they had done, level of objectivity that I have, or even the I wouldn't speak on a situation with bias in that way for the ways that me of because I chose Meg over Nikki, and I'll tell you from a healing standpoint. And so that was my commentary. My commentary was when you are times exist a lot of trauma. We we've we've we consume a lot of trauma around us. And when you've done that and you've not dealt with those issues, you've not healed those issues, what is going on. I didn't have to name anything. I don't know anything about Nicki Minaj and what she may have experienced growing up. but her behaviors speak to how there's a level of healing that responding to that, right? I have paid attention to Meg and healing journey and the parts we've shared, the places where she's been vulnerable. And so that's what I was speaking to. The reason I did it wasn't because I thought it was going to reach Nicki Minaj. I did it because I felt like it might reach someone who pops off in you. And we all have triggers, right? There are things when I said be untriggerable, I'm not saying make yourself inhuman, because we've all experienced some level of trauma, right? We've all experienced things that perhaps we don't talk about and other people don't know, but we have to be responsible enough to do the work to heal ourselves so that we're not popping off in that way. So as perspective is basically on that. I'm not going to go in. I'm not going to, you can't expect me to go off and diagnose anybody. I'm not doing any of that. I'm not going to go into a whole bunch of jargon. I'm not going to do any of that. I'm going to respond and react as a therapist. So one of my playlists is going to be therapist reacts or therapist responds, like a therapist reaction to some things. I've been seeing some things that I think um, that have given me some ideas that perhaps we need to have a different level of conversation about, and maybe it will help us to open our eyes to what our own individual works may need to be. And I am not afraid of doing the work. I'm not afraid of walking people through the work because that's what I do. I'm not afraid of walking people through the work because that's what I do. That's why women who are beloved by our community as much as Meg and Nikki, um, going at it in the way that um, going at it in the way that they are. And don't get me wrong, I don't believe that they shouldn't have done that. Like, yo, I think as Black women, as Black women, we should be airing our laundry and first YouTube live stream. But I would love to hear any of your ideas or things that I should be speaking on. You think I should speak on? And I won't go too deep in it. I'll keep it all light, but impactful. And yeah, so you can. There's always going to be my healing after divorce over 50 content. That's always going to be something I'm talking about. But another thing that I've started, and I actually did an interview tonight. Today, I did my first podcast interview where I'm starting a podcast. I'm starting a podcast. And my first guest was actually a therapist. He's also a licensed therapist and a coach. And we talked about a lot as it relates to relationship between Black men and Black women and how to bridge some of those gaps and really what it's like to do the work and the benefit of doing the work. So if that's something that you want to learn more about, you can hit my link in the bio. Go to rondamail.com, RHONDAMAILE. Nope, MAIL mail.com. And that will get you on the waiting list so that you can know when that premieres. And I have some really exciting guests also lined up. So I'm looking to bring more content to these interwebs that's meaningful, that can help people move the needle on their healing journey and get what it is they desire and deserve out of life. So if that's something you're interested in, stay tuned. Make sure you click follow and like and share, whatever the thing is that people say at the end of YouTube. So I have to learn the jargon. I'm more regularly on Instagram and TikTok and Facebook. So dipping my toes over here. And I look forward to serving you guys in this way. So you guys have a great evening, and I'll see y'all next time.